Good Monday morning. It's the main event. I'm your humble host, Stephen McCollum, and of course, you know him as 17-year NFL veteran, 3-time Super Bowl champion for your Dallas Cowboys. And Dale, have you ever dealt with a trunk injury before is my question.
A trunk?
Dale illustrates here, everybody.
You mean like an elephant?
I don't know. Apparently, Arenado has a elephant.
Oh.
That's what they said during the game yesterday. They designated his injury as a trunk injury.
Really?
Never heard that. We used to have monsoons. Now we have haboobs. We used to just have glute injuries or abdominal muscle strains. Now we got trunk injuries. Why are we renaming stuff all of a sudden?
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, I saw him awkwardly hit first base.
Yeah.
That's what you get for hustling, Steve.
I think he's going to end up on the IL, which is going to be interesting because that means Tawa, I don't know, get Lawler's balling on his rehab assignments.
Yeah, he's a game away from a hamstring.
A game. I think it's less than a game, to be honest with you there. But, Dale, before we get started, we got a champion in town again.
Yes, sir.
We only get to say that for one team around these parts. Of course, golf championship. Boy, that ended up FedEx Championship, ended up being a snoozer. We'll get the updates from Dale on that. Of course, NFL talk. Major League Baseball talk as well. Lots of good here on this morning. NFL, I don't know. Depends on your take, but... Dale, how was your weekend?
It was pretty good. I think a lot of good sports here locally, and obviously you went forward and back to Tucson a couple times.
It's not that much farther from my house to Glendale than it is from my house to the Tucson Convention Center.
They have a Marriott down there.
They have a lot of stuff, but you know what the problem with it is, Dale?
Yeah.
You have to stay in Tucson.
So I'm excited to hear about that.
Sorry, Tucsononians.
Played a little golf on Saturday. A little warm out there. Might have to take a little time off. But other than that,
Saturday morning, I left my house just to do a few things before we went down to media day and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Dale, I thought I was gonna die. I mean, you can ask Adam. I got home, took a quick shower, got ready, threw clothes on, drove down to Tucson. I didn't stop sweating till about halfway to Tucson. It was ridiculous.
You guys have your windows down there?
No, air was blowing right in my face.
Okay.
No, it's just my core ended up getting hot or whatever, and I just couldn't cool down. I was just sweating. I was like, "Jeez, what's happening?"
I felt it Saturday. I felt it 17 and 18 on Saturday, but. Other than that, I thought it was a good weekend for local sports, and you had the Hall of Fame of Diana Taurasi.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure about her acceptance speech and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Blah,
I didn't see it live because
yeah,
last night was loud. That Tucson Stadium was loud.
You were busy. Look like quite a few people there.
Oh, it was packed. Dale, I'm not kidding you, and we'll get into this coming up here, but that was the most fun I've had at an indoor football game in a long time.
It seemed like it was a good game, competitive,
and it was so much
and
fun.
all that. And
much fun.
So when did you find out that you had media passes?
Oh, I actually knew Friday when we were joking around about it.
Oh,
they emailed me during the show.
Okay.
So I was just playing the joke up and stuff like that. No, we knew we knew we were getting them. We were just having fun I was just having fun with that. But the Tucson Sugar Skulls, so the way it works because it's Tucson, they run everything,
right?
And stuff. So and everything. No, they hooked us up too. They were really nice. They got us up in the press box, and we got like a little mini booth up there on top of it. Compared to everybody else was like on the everybody else lines up on the thing. We got this little booth on top of it, and everything. It was really nice. Yeah.
Now the Sugar Skulls. Crew is a lot of Arizona Rattlers crew.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Because Kevin Guy still is a minority owner of the Sugar Skulls now. Him and his wife, Kathy, are still minority owners of the Sugar Skulls. But there's new ownership down there, so it's all different people now.
Oh, okay.
But the Rattlers media person, Jay Gonzalez, he still works closely with them and And so he lives down there still and stuff like that. So no, completely different people. We had to meet completely different media people, and I knew if it was Rattlers people, it would have been even. Well, but they rolled out the red carpet, nice stadium on top of it. They just renovated that place, and that's when Tucson went down there a few years ago. Nice stadium, just overall good vibes there. Now a lot of that could have to do with the Rattlers were in it,
right?
Type of a situation. But it was good experience there. I mean, we went to I'll say this about Tucson. Let's just get this out of the way, Dale. Because you were too lazy to come with me. You didn't want to drive.
No phone call.
Dale said, I said, Dale, you want to go to Tucson? And he goes, why would I want to go that hellhole?
No phone call. I'd have came down and met you in wherever the hell you live in South Gilbert.
This thing, it would take you 3 hours to get to Tucson.
Probably. I'm kind of anxious to, because I went to one championship media day when it was here.
Yep.
That's probably 4 years
ago.
The
United Bowl back when it was called that was out in Glendale, right? The first, because they had to move out of downtown for that game. That was the United Bowl back then when the highest seed got to host the event.
Yes, which I always saw it in a, whether you want to consider the Indoor Football League a minor league.
They're trying to be a
high level, lower league.
Yeah.
I just always thought, have the championship game at the team with the best record, because at least you're going to sell tickets.
That's the thing. Last year's crowd was not very big for Las Vegas and Green Bay. I turned it on. It got loud in there yesterday on both sides. Green Bay had a lot of fans there.
Really?
We went into media day. We walked in. This guy had this Blizzard hat on. And I go, are you really from Green Bay? And he goes, yep, flew in for the game. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Take your word for it.
You leave Green Bay in August to come down here.
There was a lot of Blizzard fans there, man.
Good
so
for them.
They were loud too. They had horns and cowbells though. That was kind of a
Well, I did see where you said it was one of the better, if not the best, indoor football league game. But I'm curious.
I've seen a lot of them, Dale, and I'm not kidding you. This was from opening kickoff. And like at one point, I was like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
And I chart the game. I keep all that stuff. I do all that. And I'm literally just like, I just feel like I was so busy because so much was happening. I'm just like, oh my God, what was that? It was an amazing experience. And I was like, afterwards, I was thinking like, was this because it was a championship? It was just a fantastic game. Deuces, 2-point recovery for a 2-pointer for the other team, for the Rattlers. To quarterbacks couldn't be stopped. It was weird. Receivers making unbelievable catches. It was quite the experience. If that was your first IFL game,
you're hooked.
It's kind of like the NHL in the Olympics. You're all into it, and then regular season hockey comes back, and you're like, oh, not as good.
So you went down there for media day, and that was on Saturday.
Yep.
And was it held at the convention center where the game was played?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We hang out on the field. They had everybody on the field. Crowds allowed to go in. It was a free experience. People didn't get the memo. There's like 12 people there.
Okay.
It was more than that, but it was a small crowd and everything. But it was interesting. We just went down there to get the bearings, quick drive down there, get the bearings, see how it is. Never been down there before. Grab an early dinner, get out of Tucson. Ding. I'll say this about Tucson, because I do enjoy something really, really well about Tucson. So I got to give Tucson some props here. I know, Sun Devil fans, forgive me. I'll say this about Tucson. Their area around the university, 4th Avenue, historic downtown, all that stuff. It's what Mill Avenue used to be up here in Phoenix. Lots of mom and pop type businesses, bars, nightlife, restaurants. Now, they're probably corporate now. They're probably a bigger deal, but they're not the chain stuff.
Right.
Right. And you just drive up and down there. It just gives you a college vibe. You go down Mill Avenue now, and it's just chain. And that's what I'll say. It's just a different environment down there. And I like that a lot. So we had early dinner there on Saturday down there. And then we went down early yesterday to have lunch down there as well. And hang out down there before we had to be at the arena and stuff like that. And I will say that, Tucson, you keep that part the way it is. Don't let the Ruby Tuesdays in there and the Rusty Tacos and all these national chains into that environment. Don't let it happen. Keep it traditional and keep it real, please, because it's beautiful. It gave me vibes of Mill Avenue back in the day when you just go hang out at Mill Avenue. When Dale was playing in Super Bowl 30, you go down to Mill with Fat Tuesdays was like as Cheney, and the Ruby Tuesdays were as Cheney as it would get.
Right.
You know.
No, I've always said about the University of Arizona's campus. To me, that's like a college campus.
Feels more
now
valuable.
You get outside the campus, and obviously there's some questionable parts. I don't know if it's north, south, east, or west. But
yes, the answer is yes to that.
But the campus itself reminds me of a college.
Yeah,
convention center's downtown.
Yeah, but it's a mile or two from campus,
right?
From that 4th Avenue area, it's not that far.
Okay,
but yeah, the convention center, they're remodeling the outside too. When you go pull up into it, you're kind of like, ooh. But once you get inside, it's nice.
Okay.
It's nice. There's a DoubleTree now. There's hotels all around it. They've done a really good job of building it up. But just keep that 4th Avenue area, which is like our Mill Avenue. Just keep that area. Now, Dale, when you're walking around, everything's got gates around it and, not the best appeal on the planet. But it just feels homey when you're down there.
Well, it's Sunday, and all those indoor football league fans be wandering around.
Well, the school's reporting people are moving into their dorms, so there's a lot of parents and kids running around. And,
yeah.
Kids in school, mom's crying.
All right, so tell us.
Dad's wallets are getting lighter as they're walking around.
So take us through Saturday. You get there, your normal championship game kind of press conference. Both coaches talk.
Both coaches,
both owners, maybe
the commissioner's state of the IFL speech. We got there. We walked in like 5 minutes late. Like we were just running late. Then we had to get our credentials, which took no time at all, and then figure out how to get in there. And it had already started, but so the commissioner was in the middle of his speech. But they're doing something that does concern me. Now I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. But. He hyped a lot of how next year they're going to have 4 more teams in there. One in Austin, Texas, 2 in Georgia, and then the Arkansas Diamonds, who are in the Arena League right now, they're going to move over into the IFL. So 4 teams in the Eastern Division, which will make it, 18 teams now going into next year? And they want to get to 24. That's their end goal is 24.
Okay.
So they're expanding. But I've seen, Dale, you've been around long enough. We've seen leagues like this expand and then quickly go out of business. And the league I'm talking about is one where NFL owners were buying franchises too. We're talking about the Arena Football League. What did them in was they expanded in astronomical rates with NFL ownership buying those teams, and then it poof, gone.
Yeah.
And then the Rattlers moved over to the IFL and all this other stuff. It worries me a little bit with these expansion goals.
Yes, and again, too much too soon can be a problem,
especially in the smaller markets. Now, I would argue the IFL can survive in the smaller markets. Maybe that was the AFL's expansion problem. Was Philadelphia, Dallas, obviously here in Phoenix, stuff to that effect. But big markets. Maybe they'll survive more in Hot Springs, Arkansas, Austin, Texas. Stuff like maybe they'll survive better in those types of places. But it just worries me when you see that expansion.
Well, the other thing about the Indoor Football League and mostly the Arena Football League is I'm not sure how well they vetted owners and all that as far as how much do they have.
It's changed now. From what I've heard, it's exchanged now.
Good.
Back now, that's what scares me. Is the IFL a few years ago was just a bunch of owners. Like they own furniture stores. So they just wanted to advertise their furniture store, and that's how they could do it with the Arena Football League. Come see Bob's Mattress Shop. Stuff like that. It's changed now. You're getting owners with backing, their own money, et cetera, type of stuff. It doesn't mean they're cajillionaires or anything like that, but it's. I think it's changing from what I can gather. And a lot of the owners were there. They had their state of the ownership meeting, which, of course, we weren't allowed to go to, type of a situation. Happening there and stuff like that. So he was talking about that. He also talked about the network in Yahoo. Now, I have a theory on Yahoo's ratings, and it's not good, but I'll tell you why here coming up in a minute. But I complained a lot this year about the kickoff times. Like, these are ridiculous kickoff times. Even the championship game. 7:30 p.m. Eastern on a Sunday when Green Bay's playing in this game. Like, that's ridiculous. Do it earlier on a Sunday. There's literally nothing else on except for baseball and WNBA. Showcase it earlier in the day, like, 5 o'clock Eastern time, something to that effect. Well, they let us know why the games, Sunday night, 7:30 kickoffs, those types of things. Yahoo Sports demanded it. The network went to the IFL and said, if we do this, we want games. We don't want games on Saturdays because nobody sits down and watches football on Saturdays. Right, college football? Basically, the way he phrased it was, and this I didn't get it on video because I wasn't expecting this smart of an answer from the commish. Let you guys know my opinion of the guy. Just the whole executive crew. I already had a low opinion of him, Dale. Yeah. And the second in command, dude drove me nuts. Just sharp dress, slick hair, just walked around like he owned the build. They just rubbed me the wrong way. I don't care. They hate me, take my credit. I don't care. Do whatever you want to do. They just don't seem like jerks. They just seem like bad dudes. They rub me the wrong way, the way they command themselves and stuff like that. But anyway, I digress. Just a whole nother thing. It still bothers me today, the guy, and it's just yeah, okay, got to come down from that. Yes. Anyway. So he's sitting there, and he said that Yahoo was basically like nobody sits down and watches games on Saturdays. They go to the games. So the commish said, well, yeah, so we had to convince these owners on Sunday games where they may not sell as many tickets, but you'll get more of a national TV audience. And they had record numbers this year. They were saying 400,000, at one point, stuff to, for the year, not for a weekend, type of stuff, things like that. And it's like, so you're selling out for you're going to do like every other league does, like the NFL. The NFL doesn't care if you buy tickets to the stadium or not. They don't care. They want the media money. Right. Those stadiums can be empty, and the NFL doesn't care. NBA, same thing. They want that media revenue. They don't care if you show up at the stadium, folks. That is so little money to the owners, it's ridiculous. And now it's kind of sad to see a small league go to that favoritism. Because how does a small league grow? Kids in the seats, having fun, celebrating, being in that environment. You don't get that sitting at home on a Saturday night watching it on Yahoo Sports.
Well, you can also argue the fact that that's how you can get new fans as they see it on TV and go, wow, that looks like a great product. Yeah, hey, let's go next week.
I know. I just don't. It's just 4:30. That game didn't end till 8 p.m. our time last night. We were walking down to the field at 8 p.m. because I looked at my watch and was like, what time is it? It started at 4:30. Dale, that's 11 p.m. Eastern. How many people were watching in New York or wherever on the East Coast at 11 p.m. on a Sunday night? Who else was watching that?
Well, did they speak about Yahoo? Weren't there a lot of technical difficulties?
Nope, of course, they don't bring up the technical stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's my theory on Yahoo. So every time I've had to load up Yahoo, so if you don't know, up in the press box, we have our computers because we're doing everything. And Autumn comes with me. She helps me chart the game, penalties. She keeps track of some things and pictures and stuff to that effect. She helps out with all of that stuff. So she does a fantastic job, part of TME Media, AZ folks. So we're sitting there, and every time like a commercial break happens, you have to refresh your feed. I'm convinced they do that on purpose. I'm convinced they make you refresh your feed and re-click the IFL link again because you have to do it multiple times a game. And I couldn't tell if it was just our feed, like in the stadium, but it does it at home when they're on the road and stuff. I'm convinced they do that because it just adds another viewer to their clicker. Every time you have to re-click back into the feed. I'm convinced. Me and Autumn alone yesterday in the press box was probably worth about 40 people in viewership yesterday. With how many times we had to refresh that feed to get it back in there. I'm convinced that's what they're doing. I'm convinced of it.
Because you would think that they want you to be able to stay through the commercial.
Yeah. No, that's the problem. You miss the commercials because you're having to re-click on the feed again and do all it's the most annoying thing on the planet. No, they're not going to talk about the bad stuff. It's Yahoo's first thing at live sports. The IFL's their first deal, but they're happy with it. They're going to expand it. Obviously, you're getting more games next year with 4 new teams coming in. So the national sideline thing. It's just what made the AFL great back in the day, the Arena Football League, was, especially here in Arizona, was it was a summer league, right? Middle of summer.
Right.
Oh my God, get out of the heat. Let's go inside of the stadium and let's go inside the air conditioner and watch some indoor football, have some fun. Then when they moved it to a spring league, they kind of screwed that pooch a little bit and, kind of went downhill from there, and then a whole bunch of other stuff happened and stuff. Then the IFL came along, and now it's kind of like a late spring, early summer type of league, obviously. Championship game was just last weekend and stuff to that effect. I'm not saying they're making a mistake. I'm just saying there's a lot of footprints here that they're going down a failure. And that would just be terrible to see, but we'll see.
All right, so what else? Well, what positive they talk
well,
about?
Well, that's basically it. That's it for the coach. That's it for the commissioner's statement.
Okay.
In terms of the coaches, the biggest dynamic that I took out of the media day press conference is I see all the comments. We'll get to the comments here in a minute, guys. But the interesting thing is Green Bay, their head coach gets up there, and he's like, I want to thank the IFL, all the fans here, the Arizona Rattlers for, just a noble opponent for us this weekend. And, they're talking like that aspect of it.
Midwest.
Just great to be there. Just, my players are the best things here. And we're here because of our players. And, just thankful to be there. Just thanking everybody, whatever. And then for those of you that have followed the Rattlers for a long time, and I'm not going to say anything that this guy won't admit that he does, Kevin Guy gets up there and starts talking about, we deserve to win. We belong to win. We don't operate without winning. We do everything to win. Our players, they show up on time. They work hard on time. They do what's necessary for them, for us to be here. And it was I'm literally sitting there between the coaches going, this is literally a battle of like good versus evil kind of a thing. 2 organizational differences battling it out on Sunday on the ground. Because Green Bay wants nothing to upset you. Like their ownership, when they talk, they were just like, oh, we were here last year. And we go, Charlie, we hope we win this time. It'd be so great. And then Kevin Guy is like, we will win this thing this weekend. It was so weird. It was the weirdest thing to see in that dynamic. I was just sitting there like, oh, wow. This is so different. That's the other thing I took out of it, was just the difference in the organizations. And one's not worse than the other. I'm not saying anything on that, but it was apparent with those two talking next to each other. Yeah, you've been around the IFL a lot. Obviously, used to call the games for the Rattlers for a bunch of years and stuff like that. There's a lot of egotistical maniacs as head coaches, and stuff to that effect.
Yep.
And it's a lot more like Kevin Guy, more so. And Green Bay was the polar opposite. So I literally was like dubbing this like the battle of good versus evil, because it was just the weirdest dynamic. But nothing was ever said. We did find out, though, interesting enough. Remember when Kevin Guy got into head coach of the Rattlers, got into it with the Vegas coach?
Yeah.
We found out what the suspension was. Remember they kept saying there were suspensions involved?
Right.
But they wouldn't announce what it was. We couldn't get the answer. Me and Richard Oper were trying. We were trying hard. We couldn't get it. He was suspended off the executive committee. Kevin Guy was, for the rest of the year. He got kicked off that. That was his punishment. That was his suspension. Not on the executive committee.
And what does the executive committee do during the season? That's all off season.
Yeah. Yes, right?
Yeah.
And also that you took your most seasoned, the guy that's been around the longest, the most seasoned guy, the most successful, and you're taking him off the executive committee. All you're doing is hurting your league at that point. But we found out that was the suspension, which is weird because how we found out about it, the commissioner and his number 2 guy were the guys that were talking about that being the suspension. And I'm like, nobody else could talk about it, and then you guys show up here and you guys are yakking about it like it's nothing. I found that a weird dynamic as well from that. But Kevin Guy is really good at laughing at himself. Like he had some good bits. Like somebody asked him, like, hey, your team, and he goes, hey, my team didn't get in trouble. He goes, nothing came across my desk and nobody showed up late to practice. We practice at the same time every day and all this stuff. And he goes, the guys show up. He goes, if anything, I got in more trouble than they did this year. I guess his ability to be a pompous jerk to where he'll rub you that way as just this pompous dude. But then he'll also just kill you with the laughter and making fun of the situation. It is an interesting dynamic to watch, especially around a lot of the media who's not around Kevin Guy all the time,
right,
like we are and stuff like that. So that's basically what I took from the media session on Saturday. I was watching the players during it. I was joking around with a couple of the Green Bay guys afterwards and stuff like that. Going into it, if you didn't know what was happening, you would have thought the Green Bay team was really relaxed. They only returned 4 people from last year's game in the IFL Championship. 4.
Okay.
Everybody else is new on their team. And the Rattlers players, they were on their phones and stuff, but they were out in the crowd, watching everything. But they were like more stoic, no reaction to anything, nothing. The Green Bay players were like into the speeches. They were like, hey, when the coach shouted them out, hey, and stuff like that. The Rattlers players were just like stoic. They were on the phone. They were bored. They were like the rest of us, bored and stuff like that. But you could tell there was a difference. And I was even sitting there going, Green Bay's pretty loose. Green Bay's pretty loose going into this right now. And one team's just like stoic and stuff like that. Even afterwards, like players are up mingling around. And the Rattlers players were all just like, and the Green Bay players were. That's why I walked up to him. Dude had long hair, and another dude had this big old hair. And so I walked, and they were big dudes, man. I walked up to them because I was like, "What do you guys eat in Green Bay?" Because these guys are huge, just huge men. So I walked up to them, joking around. They were joking around, like nobody on the Rattlers side was like joking around at all. It was like all like professional.
Business trip, Steve.
Yeah,
Business
and it was just those types of dynamics is what I saw on Saturday there, and we were out of there by 3, and we went and grabbed lunch. That was Saturday. Sum it up that way.
Okay.
Then Sunday comes, and we got down there early. We left early. We went to Costco. I do the Sunday Costco trip, and all that. And then we got down there early, so we stopped and ate and hung out. Got over to the stadium and top-notch facility. Like I said, top-notch running there by the Sugar Skulls. And I almost died walking up the stairs to the press box, though, Dale.
No elevators?
Oh, they did have elevators. I didn't know where they were. I didn't think it was going to be that big of a hike. It's not that big of an arena. Even Richard Oper, we walked in with him. Even he was like, "What is happening right now?"
Uh-huh.
Woo! But Dale, it was just a fun environment yesterday and stuff to that effect. Just leading up to the game, the crowd. To put a picture out. I walked the line, 2 lines. I don't know, quarter mile long, maybe longer. Half an hour before the game kicks off. So many people were lined up outside before.
And only 2 doors were open?
Yeah, they only had one way to get in, and they had to all be scanned and stuff like that.
Right.
We got to go to the media side, so we got to just walk in. No problem. But they had another door open on the back side where they had to be scanned and stuff, but more people were in the front.
Right.
But that was 30 minutes before gates opened. And I was like, this is going to be a big crowd. A lot of Rattlers fans there, obviously. And they were loud and vocal and stuff like that. So it kind of just sets the terms when you go into that game as well. So really quick, let's hit up on some chat here real fast. Ethan said, Braxton's going to come after you now since you said you hate Tucson. Braxton knows my feelings about Tucson. He lives down there, and he's a loyal listener to the show and all that. I actually tried to meet up with him, and he wasn't feeling well, so he wasn't able to meet up with us and everything. But, yeah, he knows my feelings about Tucson already.
Do you like Tucson or Minnesota less?
Oh, it's not even close. Oh, Tucson's worse.
Really?
Well,
it doesn't seem that way.
Well, I told you my story of Minnesota. Minnesota people are awesome. That game I went to with Cardinals in Minnesota, and I had a white shirt on, but I just had the Cardinals logo really small. They were like inviting us to the tailgate. They were like nice and everything. It's the farther you get away. It's just Minnesota. It's just their sports teams are just straight trash. I'm just saying. They act like they've won something. Has any Minnesota team won any big championship? ever, besides the Lynx, who might win it this year in the WNBA. And they act like they just won Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl. Let me check, Dale. Nope, same amount as the Cardinals. Pointing that out.
They've been to more Super Bowls.
Great. Losers. Perfect. Good for them. We've lost 1, they've lost 4.
So they're better losers than the
Back
Cardinals
in the 60s. Back in the 60s. Well, Dale, everybody loses 4. Buffalo, after you left. We can keep going. That stuff. And says, Saturday morning we were sitting at Desert Ridge High School for their football scrimmage, and it was warm and no breeze. Yeah, she says, definitely ready for the summer to be over. Yeah,
Right.
It was just something about Saturday morning. It just hit me too. And I'm talking like, I was out from like 9 to 11 before we left. And it was just like, what is happening out here? I agree. Summer needs to end. Ann says, that fourth quarter, when we found it on Amazon, was so much fun to watch. The whole game was that way. So good. And also says, Robert says, is Tucson a step up from Green Bay? The main positives is you're not in Wisconsin.
I don't know. On August 16th,
The humidity in Green Bay has got to be stifling, right? Compared to the heat yesterday. Oh no, I was standing outside. I was waiting for Richard Opert to come out down from the parking garage, and I'm standing out there, Dale, and I'm just sweating. He's just pouring down my face. I'm like, I got to get inside. It's hot out here. And then Robert said, Yahoo's first time broadcasting sports is like the baseball coverage from Fox Sports. Yeah. Needs some improvement. By the way, I'll even go a step farther. Fox, when it covers NASCAR at the beginning of the NASCAR season, it's terrible compared to the other networks. It's just absolutely terrible. It's just like, if you want to get into this stuff, man, invest in it and do the right thing. The Cedric Bonner, or not Cedric Bonner, is that his name? Who was the quarterback for the Rattlers? Oh, the lefty.
yeah, said Bonner.
It is Bonner. Okay, I don't know why I just had a. He was the analyst yesterday for the game and stuff like that. I didn't get to listen to him, but I've heard him in other games and stuff like that and everything. And does a good job. It's just there's like something missing. When you go with these national broadcasters, you lose some of that. How do I say it? Passion that you get with the local guys.
Right.
It's just what happens. I don't know what to say about that. Your boy from Sirius XM, he has a radio show there. Was there yesterday? The white jacket guy that's all over the field.
Oh, your boy.
He was there. Yeah. He gets the mic on.
Was he sidelined?
Yeah. On the field and sideline. He gets the mic during the media press conference. And I get it. I get his shtick. He's probably, if I had to guess, he's late 20s, early 30s. But he's part of that bro era of broadcasting, like Barstool Sports kind of. Like, there's a niche for it. It's just not my niche for it. I get it. And so he gets the mic for the media day. And his first question is how successful the broadcast was with Yahoo Sports and everything. And is it because I was part of the broadcast? Like, that's his question of the commissioner.
And what did the commissioner say?
Oh, he yacked it up. Oh, you think so? And I'm just sitting there like, that's and then he's asking like, Kevin, because he was the guy in Vegas where, asked him like, Kevin came back out and he goes, tell him I'll meet him outside.
Right.
He was the guy standing there on the mic. He goes, we had a lot of good times this year, Kevin. And it went on this 5-minute rant about how he was there for all the controversy. So what are we stirring up this weekend, Coach? And you're just like, oh, I didn't realize this was turning into the whatever his name is broadcast. Yeah, it was just like, what is happening right now? I'm sure he's a nice dude. He's just part of that broadcasting side of things that it's not my shtick.
The genre.
Yeah, where it's I call it the bro genre, where everybody's like bro, and they have they just be outlandish and that type of stuff and things. But he's on Mad Dog Radio on XM. He's a part of a radio show there and everything. So, I'm not saying he's not successful. I'm just saying it's stuff that, and he'll probably look at me too and be like, "You ain't part of my demo, Tiger. Settle down, old man." So then you get into the game, Dale. And I tell you what, let's get into the game when we come back here. Spend a little time here on the Rattlers Another
game
championship.
At half, and you were very effusive with your praise over how well the game was played and how exciting it was. And
That was halftime.
yeah,
I didn't get to do a post game because we got to go down to the field and we got to speak to Kevin Guy, and I couldn't get all the videos done. I have a bunch of them. I have to go through them today, so tomorrow we'll spend some time on this as well. But we got to interview him afterwards, of course, and it was a lot of good time. But so I didn't get to do a post game one because I was just worn out in my throat. And I was like, all right, let's get out of here. It's 8 o'clock. It's 8:30. Let's get out of here. Get on the road. Come on back, folks. We'll talk it some more. Main events. Back here, main event here on this championship Monday for your Arizona Rattlers. Of course, we got NFL talk and baseball coming up top of the hour as well. Overall good weekend around the sports side. Again, Cardinals, bad news, but also good news, I guess you could say, depending on how you look at it. We'll get into that discussion. I noticed something about the Arizona Cardinals, though. I have a legitimate question for the 17-year NFL veteran.
okay.
Coming up.
Will be fascinating to hear this one.
About rookies in the NFL. We're going to talk about this here, folks,
Okay.
because it's startling what's happening out there. So then yesterday, the game kicks off, crazy busy. Dale, deuce right off the bat, meaning on the opening kickoff. The special teams player of the year. So the Green Bay Blizzard came in with the MVP, with their quarterback, Liam Thompson, and their kicker, special teams player of the year. Their kicker kicks off the opening kick. He looked like an NFL kicker. No offense to Matthew Cook for the Rattlers or any other. I haven't seen a kicker kick like this in the IFL ever.
Right.
This guy just barely touches the ball. Deuce right off the bat. 2-0 Green Bay to start the game. And you're like, all right, whatever happens. Rattlers first drive. Terrible. Terrible first drive.
Yeah.
Turnover on downs right off the bat. And you're like going, uh-oh, because one of my keys to the game, whoever has the most turnovers on downs is going to win this game. Or who has the least, meaning whoever forces the most turnovers on down. And I'm like, there's one right off the bat. Green Bay's first play from scrimmage fumble. And you're like, all right, nerves. Cool. They got them too. Nice. Next play, touchdown. But it was one of those touchdowns where the quarterback throws it. It's tipped at the line, so it's wobbly. Goes into the end zone. A Rattlers defender and the receiver both dive for it because it's just a wobbling duck in the end zone. Hits somebody's foot or something, pops up into the air, and a Green Bay guy dives and catches it for a touchdown. So you're down 9-0 after the extra point, right off the bat.
You're wondering if it's going to be this kind of day.
Yeah, and I'm literally sitting up there going, well, everything's going Green Bay's way to start this game. And even the Rattlers, like, you could tell they were like, what? And Green Bay's just celebrating whatever, up and down the court, up and down the field. And then the Rattlers offense settled down. They go down and they score a touchdown and they settle down. A lot of chippiness in this game early as well. Like, refs were breaking guys up. Now, give kudos to the refereeing crew. They didn't throw flags very often. They're very fast. But there's a lot of chirping, a lot of in your face. Even on kickoffs, players would get together and, scuffle a little bit, and they just separated them and told them to go on the way. The refereeing crew did a fantastic job yesterday.
Good.
Letting them play from that side of it. But, Dale, so many things happened in this game that you just don't see very often. So it's tied at halftime. The Rattlers fought back, were able to get it. But even at the end of the half, Rattlers go down and score. 4 seconds left. Tie it up. Rattlers go down and score. Kickoff. Okay. They kick it out of bounds, which I don't understand why they did that. But they kick it out of bounds, which gives Green Bay the ball at the 20-yard line. 4 seconds left. They just run their all-IFL kicker out to do a field goal. Makeable for this guy. Trust me, folks. This guy probably can make it from 80. It's ridiculous. I mean, he kicks this field goal, and you know how in smaller arenas, they have things hanging down in the middle. So they have these speakers hanging down from the roof right in the middle of the field.
Okay.
So you have to kick around them. He lines up, he kicks this field goal, banks it right into those speakers. So it dies down. So dead ball. So I'm like, so now we're all sitting there going, what does this mean? Is this a replay? What happens? Turns out it's just a dead ball. Rattlers ball. 1 second left is what they rule. 1 second left on the clock. Rattlers ball. So they get the ball at their 20. Field goal attempt. And Matthew Cook missed that one. So they had a chance to go up by 3. They could have stolen 3 points at that point. But instead we go in at halftime. And you're just sitting there going, what? That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life that this has happened.
You would think, why are you having to kick around obstacles on a field?
I don't know if Vegas has it still, but Vegas had a big jumbotron in the middle of theirs where, like, you had to kick the ball basically on the ground so you didn't hit this jumbotron.
Really?
I don't know if it's still there, but it was there a few years ago when we saw the Rattlers play in Vegas a couple times and things to that effect. So that was the end of the half, and you're just sitting there like, what is happening? Even that touchdown pass, Horace goes up and just one-hands it, tips it to himself. He literally tips it to himself and then catches it with a defender draped all over him. This was like a good defense. I know it's hard to say good defense when 1,000 points were scored, but defensive guys were playing on top of each other, get both receivers side, both quarterbacks. Well, we'll get to the quarterbacks here in a second, and then the second half kicks off right off the bat. Rattlers, first lead of the game on the opening kickoff, a deuce. So they had first lead of the game after the whole game is a deuce at the end. But then Green Bay goes down and scores pretty quickly. Their quarterback's a stud. He's a runner, and he's a stud.
Yeah.
And everything. So then they take the lead back. And then it's just back and forth and back. Where the game changed was Max Myler, quarterback for your Arizona Rattlers, who was on Green Bay last year, was an inch away from winning the championship. He just wasn't going to be denied. He was looking for contact. He's bigger than I am, folks. If I stood next to Max Myler, you would think he was the linebacker or the defensive lineman compared to me. He's a big dude. He was looking for contact, running up and down. Now Arlen Bruce had a couple touchdowns, but they were in the red zone. Like they were a few yards out. They shut down the Rattlers' best receiver yesterday. They shut down the running game, except for Max Myler. And Max Myler just put everything. He ends up winning the MVP. But even then, the Green Bay quarterback took over the game at one point, just running the ball like crazy and stuff to that effect. This was just an unbelievable back and forth type game. Weird things were happening left and right that you don't see. Green Bay scored. Where the game really turned was Green Bay scored a touchdown on the extra point. Snap way over the head of the holder. And it's just bouncing, and everybody's like trying to pick it up and fall on it, Green Bay and Rattlers. And it goes all the way down the field. Finally, a Rattlers guy picks it up, goes in, scores. It's only 2. You get the 2 points then if you do that. So that was the swing to the Rattlers, ended up with the 3-point lead at that point because of the 2-pointers on top of it. They already had the 1-point lead because Green Bay would have tied it up with the kick. That's where it turned because then Rattlers get the ball back. They went down and scored. Never got closer than, I think, 9 or 10 after that, type of thing. But that's where it turned. And it's fascinating to me because we're going to talk coaching here and we talk Cardinals coming up here. The Green Bay coach has been around for a long time, 7+ years, had a lot of success in the league and stuff like that. But there's something about Kevin Guy, especially this team, but you've seen it in other years he's been coach. They're just better at the end of games than other teams. They're able to make the play to put them at. We saw it a lot this year in the regular season in close games where you're like, we're going to lose this. And then somebody makes a play, and then it just all turns.
Well, I've always applauded Kevin Guy because he's one of the only guys, I don't care what indoor, outdoor, professional, college coaches, that he works situations ad nauseum in practice. Mm-hmm. So very rarely do the Rattlers get surprised by anything when it comes down to that.
Yeah.
And the more prepared you are, especially late in the game, the less bad things can happen to you.
That's how I would describe it. They're more prepared for those big moments. Yeah. I'll put that equation here to Scottsdale Christian Academy. Their 3 championships, they were dogfights in games where you were there, Dale. There'd be 4 or 5 minutes left in the game, and you're going, well, this is how they lose it,
right? And
then they make that one play that puts them above. And it's just an inexplicable just preparedness play that happens.
Right.
Rattlers are doing it now. And you're just seeing this trend happen in these sports teams like this where, it just odds are against you. And you're able to somehow turn it into your favor with just a simple play and then ride that momentum forward when the other team isn't able to do it. And I think you can say experience all you want, but it's coaching. coaching sets you up for that moment and stuff to that. And I'll say this, it's one of my favorite things to watch when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's just so that you're literally, even, I shouldn't throw him out under the bus, but even the media guy for the Rattlers, he like turns around to me at one point to tell me like after the game about if they win, where to go, and if they lose, where to go. And even he was like, with like 5 minutes to go, he goes, if we lose, we'll do it outside the locker room. If they win, we'll all down on the field. And I'm just like, even the media guy's like, I don't know what's going to happen here. And then boom, the plays happen and you can just feel the momentum switch. And at that point, you just kind of never, it's indoor football, so things can change, but you just never felt like Green Bay was going to be able to do it once that momentum switched. You just felt that. And you got to give it up to the crowd as well. I mean, it was Green Bay fans showed up, and they have these horns and these cowbells. It was really annoying. But the Rattler fans, the way it started, they were quiet. They woke up after a big play to tie the game, to get them back into it, to tie it in the first half. Quiet again in that second half a little bit. And then when momentum started to change, and they were just packing that building, and they were loud. I haven't heard a stadium that loud in a long time for an Arena Football League game and stuff to that effect. So, I mean, I don't even know if you can tell, but on one of my videos I put out there, I had a microphone on, and I felt like I was yelling, and you don't yell on it because it picks you up. But I was like, how to remind myself while I was talking not to yell because of how loud it was in there. It's just easy to start yelling for no reason.
Well, to me, I didn't need to hear anything else about how exciting the game was when you didn't realize that the game took 3.5 hours.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't look at my watch once, even at halftime. I did my recording thing. I was uploading it, doing all that stuff. Kick up. Oh, first of all, okay, I know it's a championship game, but for the love of God, do we need 17-minute commercial breaks? Yeah, they were forever. Now, luckily, we needed them because we needed to get caught up and stuff.
Yeah, well, you also need time to refresh.
Refresh your screen. They need ratings. But no, that was the thing. I looked at my watch when I was walking down to the field, and going down to there. Right. I looked at it like, what time is it? I was like, 8:01. What? That tells you. And folks, if you don't know, when I go to when I go to indoor football, there are times during a game, a lot of times, even if they're high-scoring affairs, where I'm just staring at the ceiling. Because it's exciting when people score a lot, but if everybody's scoring in one play or two plays, and it's happened 10 times, you're kind of like, all right, another play, another long touchdown play, yawn.
Right.
And this was the most fun ever yesterday.
Good.
Both of these evenly matched teams, their stats were even throughout the whole game. And stuff. It was just so much fun to see. And then, of course, the Rattlers won it on top of it, which is something we don't see around here except for the Rattlers.
And you sign off on the Convention Center in Tucson hosting the championship game because they got one more year down there.
Yeah, they're doing it in 3-year deals from what I was told when I asked about it. So Vegas was 3, Tucson's 3. Then we'll see where they go after that.
Right.
I just don't. This one worked because the Rattlers were in it.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, the crowd. I'm sure the crowd was decent last year, but it's not. There was Sugar Skull fans. Okay, I gotta phrase this carefully, and I'm gonna sound terrible what I'm about to say. It's got to go to places that the fans sell out the place for a regular game or close to sell it out, and Tucson's crowd just isn't that great on a regular game. Like, the Rattlers look empty because they're in a 16-seat stadium.
16,000.
16,000 and 9,000, 10,000 people show up to a game. And it looks empty because it's a huge arena.
Right.
But Tucson seats 9,000. You need to have these games in cities because you need the local people to show up. And there were Tucson Sugar Skulls fans yesterday. You saw them around and stuff to that effect. But they wouldn't have been able to cover the, If this was, name another team in the West, and I'm drawing a blank on right now. How many people from San Diego, there weren't very many people in that San Diego, Arizona Western Conference game. How many of those people are coming to Tucson to watch a game? So I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic how they're going to do that. I also suspect, one of the media people came up to me and they were like, why do we have all these championship games in the West? And he goes, well, it was Vegas for 3, Tucson for 2 now, one more year, and then Vegas for 3. He goes, but before that, He goes, when it was in Glendale. I go, it was in Glendale for a couple years. And I said, and I had to remind him, I felt like a genius here. I go, before the Vegas championship games were set there, they went to the highest seed, which was usually the Rattlers.
Right.
Or somebody in the West. And so that's why it seems like every championship game's in the West. Would this work in a Green Bay? Would this work in a Hot Springs, Arkansas? Would a championship game work in New Mexico, San Diego? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if it would. 9,000's probably the most you're going to get in this thing. But if you go to so if they're like Fishers, they struggled this year a little. They had a lot of talent and struggled a little bit this year, but their crowd shows up. Would this work in Fishers, Indiana?
That's in Indiana,
outside of Indianapolis. Would this work there because their home team? They
Right.
buy tickets there and they fill that arena. Would they show up for a championship game, a neutral championship game, and stuff like that? I just don't know what they're trying to do though. Vegas makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, if you're going to have a neutral site, and that is, again, I disagree with it. People can make the argument, because the highest seed, well, then they get home field advantage. Well, you can argue that means that you did that all year long.
Yeah.
To get the highest seed, you deserve it.
Yeah. Well, and then, like you said, I remember that last home game in Glendale. That stadium was packed with Rattlers fans. But I also get how you want it to be kind of neutral because then there's no advantage to any team.
Right.
I get that side too. It's just I don't know what they're doing.
I think my thing, if I was running that league, is I want a fantastic atmosphere around my championship game.
Yeah.
The way that you can almost ensure that is if it goes to the highest seeded team.
You do ensure because that
Right.
they'll have good crowds.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because they'll bring 6,000.
If that was but
fans.
here's the thing though, if that was the case, this game would have been in Green Bay yesterday. Is that I don't know? Is that working in Green Bay this time of year with the Packers practicing and everything?
Yeah, I don't know.
there's
82
the thing.
degrees in Green Bay yesterday.
And humid.
82 degrees,
Sweating.
Steve.
So I don't know what they're doing. It'll be fascinating to see. I just see some decisions being made, growth decisions being made where other places have failed with those growth decisions. So it'll be
Right.
fascinating to see where this goes. Papa Mike says, I was so happy that the Green Bay owner wasn't shown on TV once they started losing. She was annoying, in my opinion, says Papa Mike.
Okay. And do you have that same feeling?
Different.
She was different?
Different vibe.
Oh.
Midwest vibe. It stood out. It goes to the whole. She was, I call it 50-yard line. She was midfield. You could see her. She was midfield, first row, banging on the boards. Stuff to that effect. Press conference. This is another example of how different these operations are run.
Yeah.
The owner and her husband were on the up there on the dais with the head coach, right, for the press conference on Saturday, and people were asking the owner questions and stuff to that. Ron Schertz wasn't even there on Saturday. He was there yesterday, but he was hidden.
He was
He was-
golfing on Saturday.
He was up there for the trophy demonstration, for the trophy awarding. He was up there. He didn't speak to anybody. He was taking pictures with his family and stuff and everything, after the game on the field. It's just the dynamic is different between that side. You could definitely tell that the Green Bay owner is a fan and loves this team and loves owning this team. That's the way I would look.
Right. Okay.
But think of like a diehard fan. That's how she acts and behaves and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with it. Mark Cuban was that way when he owned the Mavericks. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just it's different compared to what we're used to
Right.
here. If you knew anything, you thought Kevin Guy owned the Rattlers. Ron Schertz is nowhere to be found. He's a billionaire and is nowhere to be found.
Church, yeah.
Yeah, what did I say?
Ron Church.
Ron Schertz.
Shirts. Jeez.
If he made himself more known, I'd know who he is. Throw up the 2026 Rattlers champions. They're the champs, folks. Here's a video of the trophy given out there, one of them. This was taken by, I saw this on a couple people's feed. I'm not sure. Mine's a little bit different. Like I said, I got to edit it a little bit because I got some other stuff. But the confetti was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot. They blinded them and all that stuff. So we'll get into some other after videos and interviews and stuff like that probably tomorrow when I got a chance to sit down and handle all that stuff out there. But it was a good time and good for the Rattlers. I mean, you know, it's minor leagues, but you got to give them the success that they got. It's fun. It was a fun environment. I was trying to remember. I've been to a lot of Rattlers champion, even when Danny White was the head coach and Gene Nudo was the GM and all that stuff.
Okay.
I had season tickets back then because it was summertime, get out of the heat type of a thing. There were fun games to go to. I won ribs from Hooters one year, sitting in the stands, and I gave them to the family behind me because I'm like, I'm not eating warmed up ribs given to me by the Hooter girls while I'm sitting in an arena. I'm just not doing it, man.
Yeah, did you say the Hooter girls had to come down and at least say hi to you, though?
Well, they came up and brought me the wings. And I'm like, thank you. Big old plate of wings, of ribs, I mean. And I'm like, I'm not eating ribs in my seat. This is weird. It's weird. I gave it to the nice family behind me. They devoured them. But like I've done a lot of championship games. I don't think I've ever seen them win in person. I know with Kevin Guy I haven't. He confirmed that yesterday because he goes, "This is my first win in Arizona," and I was like, "Oh, that settles that." I have not seen the Rattlers win a championship game in Arizona since he's been around.
Still in Phoenix, you had done it in Phoenix or Glendale.
Yeah, and I've been to all those championship games and everything over the years. So it's just fun. And it also reminded me, as we talk Cardinals here at the top of the hour, it just reminded me what winning can do to not just a fan base, but a city, stuff like that. Just be competitive, folks. That's all we're asking. Be competitive. Now, when we come back, I'm going to leave it up to you. Do you want to talk Major League Baseball first or NFL first?
Well, you're Arizona Diamondbacks.
It's settled. We'll talk Diamondbacks first. We'll end the show with the National Football League. We got a lot of stuff from the conversation. Yesterday before the game started, I was watching a lot of the LaFleur press conferences and the players talking yesterday. Michael Wilson spoke.
Michael Wilson's like the spokesman for the team now.
Oh, I love the kid. Marv who?
Stanford.
Come on back, folks. Second hour main event coming up next.